Homesteading. What's age got to do with it? What's your advice for the old and decrepit that want to live this life? Okay. Seriously. How old are you?
I'm
Old enough to
that
forget.
I forgot. I will be 57.
You will be. How old were you when you came up? When we came up?
55.
54.
54.
Weren't you 54? You were 54 and turned 55.
Yeah.
Yes, you were 54.
Yep.
When we're at this age, every month counts.
Well, I guess.
So, what would be, like many dreams, age doesn't have a lot to do with it, but for many dreams, age does have a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, we had brought 2 youthful sons up that were old enough to
Yep.
work.
Yep.
Um,
Oh, they've been old enough to work for years.
well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yep.
Old enough to do heavy manual labor.
Yeah.
And wanting and willing to do heavy manual labor. Would you have been able to do this on your own? Do you feel you would have been able to do this on your own?
No. You know, we would have had to have hired someone or someones to help with the trusses, you know.
Right. Probably some heavy machinery
Yeah,
for...
Getting the, you know, the roof system itself, I guess we'd need help, would have needed help with.
I could have helped hauled back, but I couldn't have helped put up.
Yeah. You could have, it would have been, you know, really hard for both of us, but yeah, you could have. I don't know how safe it would have been. Well, just because they were awkward and heavy, and
Right.
you know, just the train we're walking over, so yeah, it would have been really difficult to do single-handed. Probably wouldn't have.
So we would have had to have changed our plans slightly. Maybe the building size would have changed. We could have done something different.
Building size, the roof design. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So it wouldn't have been... So you could have done it on your own with a different design, maybe?
Well, yeah. The trusses are the big thing. The
Right.
big awkward thing to get up on top of the.
Right, but if we didn't
walls.
have, like, if we had more of a just a storage area, a peak storage area.
Yeah, something smaller, not as awkward. Yeah. Yeah, if we'd have had a little different design, I probably could have done it on my own. Yeah. Yeah. Or with a little help from you, you know. It's,
Would you be one to encourage or dissuade people our age after doing it, after being here?
mm-hmm.
Would you be one to discourage or dissuade people our age from doing this?
Well, I'd say squash that dream. Put it to rest.
Oh boy.
No, I'd say go for it. You know,
But no,
Go for it.
you got to design your dream around your ability. Even a young man like RJ or Josiah wouldn't have been able to put the trusses up on their own. They wouldn't have.
No.
So
No.
so this place was designed because we had the help.
That was designed like this because we had the help and we
needed the
we
room.
needed the space.
Right.
Yeah, if it was just, you know, you and I and the 2 little ones, then we could have done, you know, a different design and maybe, you know, you and I could have, I think, done it. But with the 2 older boys, you know, we were able to swing those trusses into place and get the tin up, and so yeah. But yeah, you know, doing your, you know, fulfilling your dream,
obviously most people our age, their families are grown by now.
Mm-hmm.
They're in their have either are in or entering their grandparent stage, so they don't
Sure.
need something this size to accommodate 4 to 6 people as far as height and stuff. So it would be, when we moved here, we weren't going to go this large. We were going to go smaller and lower, but after being in the trailer, we expanded and pushed up because we realized we needed the room.
Yeah,
Which
well,
is
and
when that stuff changed.
and some of that, some of that, as far as the height, you didn't want the ceilings down here to be 8 foot.
Not at first.
Originally. Back before we even started building.
Right.
You wanted low ceilings, which, is fine. But as time went on and time was getting short, as far as the seasons changing and needing to cut each piece of timber to accommodate the roof or the ceiling height was going to be very time consuming, compared to buying the lumber, the pre-cut lumber and putting your walls together and stuff.
Right.
and coming up with an 8-foot ceiling really quick. Was another thing we thought about and considered and did. So.
Well, and also after being in the trailer and getting that claustrophobic feeling, I was okay with that. I wanted space.
Space, yeah. Well, I think for the most part, I did have Josiah's help,
Right.
which was priceless. But I could have done it. You and I could have done it.
Right,
we
with a
could have
different
done
design. This.
Well, as far as the, putting the piers down.
Oh yeah, everything
and
except
the
the
beams
trusses.
and the floors and
That
all
was kind of, you guys got a rhythm going, but but also strong men. So
many hands make light work.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we could have done something a little different.
And even if we weren't able to build, let's say you didn't have the building experience that you have, or we weren't as physically able, we could have went to the pre-made shed it's an alternative,
Well,
in the previous video where I talk about, we didn't want it because you're able to build and the pricing, because we didn't want the VOCs, but we could have done it. I mean, if somebody wanted to get onto land and didn't have the ability, or there was physical problems stopping them to an extent, they could go that route with the shed and turn it into a home.
well, sure, yeah, lots of people do that. Something else to think about or consider, whatever, if you are going, depending on your land, a pre-built shed or tiny house, whatever. It's just that it's pre-built, but you've got to be able to get that building from where you've purchased it
Right.
to where you want it on the land. If you're going into the forest, then obviously you've got to have a nice drive,
Right.
a nice clearing to put it,
Get it in there.
and that cost a lot of money.
To clear it up, to clear it and get it
Yeah,
ready.
yeah.
Yeah, or a lot of physical labor.
And if you have the physical ailments or whatever, it takes a lot to remove, stumps and
You would know.
just bringing down the trees and turning them into firewood or lumber or whatever. That takes a lot as well. So, or to hire somebody to do that, and to put in a driveway and to put in a building site, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Right. I mean, if you have to do that with raw land, but like in our case, we already had the clearing and the drive because of the logging, so we could have moved one right into that spot.
Well, no, we would have had to have had dozer work done to get the shed back here.
No, well, no, I said we could have moved one into the clearing where we park and stuff, where the RV's at. I mean, it would have limited us. So if you're getting a pre-built, it does limit you to, like, we could have built anywhere on the property we wanted, as long as we were willing to haul the stuff back there.
Right.
So if you're getting something pre-built, it does limit you on where you can put it, as you pointed out. But we could have put it up at the clearing. Yeah. And that would have been fine if that would have been our option. You know, if we didn't have other options. If that would have been the only thing we could have done, then that would have been fine.
Yep. And, you know, up where the RV is now, that was kind of an original building site.
Right.
Because it was cleared and
it was our first
stumps and
that was kind of good, though, because that was the first thing we were thinking of. But after being there for a month or two, we realized that it was way too open. It felt way too open.
Yeah.
I don't know. How big do you think the area is up there? I wouldn't... I mean, we're what, 200 foot off the road?
Yeah.
Is it 200 foot or?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Okay.
Yeah, thereabouts. That's probably it's a 150 foot
diameter.
Yeah,
okay.
Something.
That's a good size.
It's not round. It's overly lopsided type thing. But.
An awkward L.
Yeah.
Is there? You know, I think one of the things about homesteading, when you're young and you want to do it, you're busy raising your family and working and trying to establish most people are trying to establish some financial security, and that's a dream that people follow after they get through a certain point in their life. You know, the kids grow up or they hit retirement. And then in many dreams we get to a certain age and we say, you know what, I'm too old for that now.
Right.
Do you think homesteading, the pioneer way, we've picked a hard way to homestead.
No, we have.
Out of choice.
Out of choice, yeah.
Well, some choice, it's been our desire to homestead this way. Also, financially, it's more feasible for our situation. So it kind of goes hand in hand. And even if if it wasn't, we wouldn't pick homesteading a different way because, again, this is what's called us. But do you feel that it has aged you, or has it given you youth, or has it done both?
How long have we been
here?
No, not here. How long have we been? Well, I guess this is kind of a new area of homesteading for us, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're doing everything by hand here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we lived on the farm, you know, we had rototillers and
right.
And what?
Yeah, what?
Well, I guess we had. Just seemed like other options were available. Maybe I should say something like that. Other options were available. Well, I guess I'll say the downside on doing things, you know, this way, I think, is time consumption.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's
things take a long time. Buying your firewood, you know, it's delivered, and
even if you have to split it.
Yeah, all you gotta do is stack it up, or maybe some of the people stack it for you. I don't know, and it's done. You know, it's a phone call away.
Again, even if it's delivered and you have to split it, you know, it seems like work, but it's not that much.
Mm-hmm. Whereas, you know, you go out and you fell a tree, you cut it into movable sections, you know, you bring it up, you finish cutting it or whatever, you split it, you stack it, everything's done by hand. Just takes
time.
You know, so many things take so so much more time. It's probably the downside. It's not like we're trying to get it done so we can get something else, you know. Like in the microwave age, you know, you put your dinner in the microwave so it's done in a couple of minutes so you can rush out the door to do, you know, something.
Whatever, right?
But sometimes that's how it feels because, you know, this operation takes so much time that you're almost rushing to get to the other operation that does need to be done as well. And,
Some people's perspective is time is money, so it's worth them to pay for, you know, having the wood brought in, or it's worth them to pay for getting the hay instead of going out to harvest it, or it's worth them to, you know,
it's a matter of perspective.
Precisely.
You know, it is. So.
You know, what's your goal in life?
And we've been both ways. You know, is it cheaper to go, you know, go buy a post and then do this, or is it better to go out in the woods and, you know, bring down a tree or whatever, and hours later, or run to the store and pick one up? The situation kind of dictates, and just where you're at dictates. Again, we've been both places. So.
Sometimes you got to swing the pendulum with the circumstances going on around you and the resources going on around you.
You know, there is something satisfying. You know, we've been able to harvest hay from our forest, which seems kind of weird, doesn't it? You know, a couple of the logging roads have, you know, produced a lot of grass. So we've been able to harvest hay for
a couple months,
6 weeks, a couple of months, which has been, you know, cool. It's a lot of hard work,
right?
to swing it by hand and to rake it by hand and to, you know, wheelbarrow it back where we need it and stuff. And that's a lot of work. It's a lot easier to run down to the farmer and, you know, buy a load of hay. But there is a lot of satisfaction on, you know, providing that yourself.
So I go back to the question: do you feel that it's aged you, or is it giving you youth, or has it done both? Because I mean, it's a hard way of life. Hauling water, getting wood, you know, from start to finish, everything with back is back intense. You know, it's muscle intense. It's not, you're not splitting wood with a wood splitter. You know, the only tool you have is your chainsaw to cut the trees into, like you said, you cut it down in movable pieces, and from that point on. But even that takes physical labor, you know.
It does.
When you're not cutting hay, because that's only 2 or 3 months out of the year by hand with a scythe, you're cutting wood, you're cutting inventory, and the distances we walk because of how we set things up by choice. Would you do it again?
In a minute. May want to change, you know, tweak things, but I think that's I think we're always wanting to tweak things, you know, improve or
and things
change, tweak,
circumstances,
you know,
change.
You know, set this up a little bit different or that a little bit different. But, you know, who knows until you do it.
Right.
You know, you can spend years on your dream, you know, and tweaking it, you know, in your mind and stuff, and getting everything just right in your mind, you know. But then by the time you get there, yeah.
So, has it aged you? Has it given you youth? Has it done both?
I think it's done both. You know, it definitely keeps me physically active, which is a good thing. You know, I enjoy that.
I mean, you were always physically active before, so this is like extreme.
And yeah. That's given me some more aches and pains, but you know, it just comes with, you know, with our way of life, you know.
And our age.
And our age.
I mean, age does it. You
It
know?
does.
It does.
So,
But it doesn't have to dictate.
well, I think I notice, when we do get a couple of days, or we take a couple of days, and just kind of relax, chill, not do a whole lot of physical labor. I feel that in a couple of days. When we get back to it, it's like, oh man.
So, words of advice for anyone in our age range.
Don't let fear or doubt or whatever dictate what you do.